What is going on, y'all? Welcome to a little conversation about the hidden curriculum, illuminating hidden curriculum, and kind of building the baseline for level 0 inclusion at camp this summer. We're going to talk basically about how can we help folks that are outsiders become insiders at our camps. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try and make it as easy as possible because camp kicks ass, and sometimes it's kind of hard to like figure out how to be involved in it because it's like weird and culty and all kind of stuff goes on, right? So it's going to be interactive, and also we're going to have a little presentation thing, but we're going to get started the way that Nelson likes to get started. Nelson, you got a Mentimeter for me?
Bet I got the Mentimeter for me, for you, for y'all, for us. Really quick, I'm going to share this. Do I want to share the entire thing? No. So Mentimeter is pretty much how they work with their interactive online thing. What you're going to do is pretty much follow the instructions on the screen as soon as I get this up here. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to head on over to menti.com. You can do this on your phone. You can do this on your computer right here. And pretty much you're going to type in the code that you see. It's going to be 83183220. We're going to get started with just a couple of warm questions to get us started here on the hidden curriculum. But the first question here is probably one of the most important questions I'm going to ask. There is a correct answer. There are no wrong answers, but there is a correct answer. And we'll love you if you don't get the correct answer, but we'll love you a little bit more if you do get the correct answer. But what's the best camp food, right? Once you're there, you can just kind of click on it, and it'll pop up on the screen here. Okay, we got 2 for the grilled. Oh, right away with the grilled cheese, off to the races. Okay, the cookout. The cookout's kind of a cheat code because the cookout could be so many things, right? You got the hot dogs and hamburgers. I don't know. We had the watermelon in our cookout, which was delicious. Right. Okay, we got 3. Yo, grilled cheese is taking it away. I want to let everybody know that while we're here, in my eyes, the correct answer is Dino Nuggets. I feel like Dino Nuggets do not get the love that they deserve. I feel like maybe just because we're a little older, you might think the Dino Nuggets are a bit immature, but Dino, it's like dinner in a movie for me. You can make little okay, cookout and grilled cheese taking it away here. All right. So that's kind of just get us comfortable using the Mentimeter. I'm gonna try to go ahead to the next one here, while also keeping it up. I got so many slides open, and Zoom does not make it easy. Here we go. All right, so this should go to the next one here. Boom. All right, the next question. One of them's got to go. You've seen them on all social medias, right? One's got to go. Which one are we sacrificing here? Is it going to be, wow, we are on it. We're like, yeah, get rid of the chacos, get rid of the extra large coffee, get rid of the clipboard. I can do a summer without those. All right, okay, water bottle. Maybe we're big on going to the faucet and the sink and getting cups.
Wait! Somebody's bailing on the water bottle?
Yeah, what?
We don't. Wait, this is a judge-free zone. There are no wrong answers here. Although the correct answer. I said walkie-talkie every time, but then people kind of gave me slack for like, how are you going to get in contact with us? But absolutely, get rid of that. All right, extra large coffee. Maybe we're getting rid of the extra large coffee, so that balances out the water bottle because we're drinking more water without the coffee. All right. This next one's gonna be a bit more focused and on topic. That's just to kind of get us comfortable with this Mentimeter. This next one, what'll happen is it's kind of an open-ended question, and it'll also be anonymous, so they won't be. So it won't show who's answering. You'll be able to you can speak freely. And this next one is, what are some spaces outside of camp that you would expect to strive in? Like, where do you feel naturally comfortable to really just blossom and go all out? I know for me, I'm a gamer, so I know that if I go to like a gaming convention, like if I go to PAX East or if I go to Comic-Con, I'm gonna, at the time of my life, I'm gonna strive in that environment, right? So what spaces outside of camp would you expect to strive in?
No, we're doing a lot of. Oh, okay.
All right. At home, we got sports and Renaissance festivals. All right. Okay. on a hike out in the woods, out in nature. Dance studios. Okay, we got, you know what I'm saying? We got the dancing going on. I like it. Hiking trails, art studio, library, or school, right? Backstage at the theater. Maybe not in the ensemble, but you give me a nice little stage crew and I'm gonna wreck it. At the gym, on the ski slope, we got you. Okay, X Games. In the library, when trying something new. Okay, let's go. Folk music jam. Okay, we might have to connect after this. You get a nice little jam session going on, or conscious and academic spaces. All right, awesome. Those are all spaces that we would expect to strive in, right? Spaces that we feel naturally comfortable coming in with maybe little information or not very much information, or we already have a bunch of information of our own. We're going to come to these environments and strive in. All right, and this next one is going to round out our mental meter, right? And we're kind of leveling up each one. What is an element of your own identity that you wish was better understood in the camp community? And if you can if you want to elaborate on it and why, it'll just kind of help add to our conversation. But again, what is the element of your own identity that you wish was better understood in the camp community and why? Also a huge missed opportunity by me by not including sweaty cheese. Yeah, favorite food. Or I think another popular one is what, ham straw?
That's when we're taking this one seriously. Everyone's really thinking.
That's good. This, like I said, we're leveling up with each one, right? We're just kind of warming our brains up to really get comfortable talking about this kind of stuff. I'm gonna wait for a few more to come in and then I'll start reading them, right? Just to get all right. So being a child of alcoholic parents, because it informs my attachment style and responses sometimes. I often feel like I have to show up with the responsible, getting shit done hat on and don't get to be as fun as I feel in my natural personality. Introvert and extrovert interactions. Absolutely, that ambivert right there. Being an only child, sharing a room is still weird for me as an adult. I'm not just a camp person. There are things that I value outside of camp. Being a child of divorced parents, extroverted introvert / social anxiety against the bubbly, energetic counselor archetype.
Oh, we just got a couple more.
Okay. I feel like my queerness can show up, but my polyamorousness doesn't come up naturally as much. Being an introvert, obviously I signed up for a job involving lots of interaction, but it becomes difficult when I'm always around people during overnight, right? Might just need that time to kind of recoup. I think I got one more. I think I'm gonna end on this one right here, but definitely if you have more, you can definitely keep typing them in. But being fancy as hell outside of my rustic camp setting, right? We like to get dressed up too. We like to be bad and bougie every now and again. It's not always chacos and Hawaiian shirts or whatever is the go-to kind of camp motto. Absolutely. I'm gonna stop sharing here as we wrap up that Mentimeter. But I think thank you so much for just being vulnerable, right? For being able to share all those things out. And a lot of those things are going to be kind of encompassing what we're talking about with the hidden curriculum. We talked about there was mention of like so many different identities that were in camp spaces that may not be just the dominating kind of culture, or like may not be so easily expressed in the camp culture. Right? We want to have our camp community understand that better about ourselves, right? But there are environments where we do feel like we would strive in. So that just proves that it is possible for some of these elements to possibly be more involved or more understood in certain communities, right? And that's kind of the duality of this hidden curriculum that we're going to talk about, right? How do we get those spaces that we feel naturally comfortable in? How do we take kind of what we have from there and kind of involve it into our own camp communities? How can we make our camp spaces more welcoming for just about anybody and everybody in our camp spaces? How can we find ways to express ourselves, whether it be our sexuality or our interest or our whether we want to be fancy as hell or not fancy as hell, right? How do we make sure that we can involve this for not just ourselves but anybody that's coming into our camp community? And that's what the hidden curriculum talks about. I'm not used to being the tech person and also the person in charge.
And the talent.
Let's go. We're out here. We're doing it all right now. But I'm gonna pull up. Here we go. Right, and this is just some more stuff, right, about kind of those elements that like we may identify with, that are just different parts of our identity, right, and like just kind of to really illuminate how different everybody is, but that we share this camp space with, right? Some people might be routine driven, versus some people might be those planners. Some people might be those visual thinkers, and some people might be those solution thinkers, right? Right. Some people are those list makers, right? And like for all my list makers out there, just real quick, what's like the best part about making a list? Right. You can even just do the action. What's the best part after you make a list? What's like the best feeling part? Let's go. That absolutely right. Checking it all, right? And there are some people that are like that, but then there's some people that kind of live in that almost that like organized chaos of like, don't give me a list because I'm not going to follow it. Just give me like a general idea and I will make it work. I know for the most part, Jack, I would probably say that you are one of those kind of organized chaos kind of people. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that just kind of illuminates how different we are. So then boom, all of it we're thinking about, right? All of those elements that we're talking about, all of those parts of our identity, all of those spaces that we come from and kind of feel comfortable in is kind of what we're going to talk about with the hidden curriculum and kind of get us into that mindset. And just to give us a quick understanding of what I say when I say the hidden curriculum is the hidden curriculum is a term that refers to all of the unspoken expectations in a specific place or for a group of people. I just want to give that time to sit. All of the unspoken expectations in a specific place. So think about all of the spaces that you thought about that you feel comfortable in, right? Whether it was on the ski slopes, on the I can't even I'm drawn up, or at camp, or at home, or at the Renaissance Fair. All of the expectations in those places, right? Maybe the expectation at the Renaissance Fair is that we're gonna be LARPing, right? And LARPing is live action role play, for those who don't know, but we might be using swords, and the expectation between sword is that we're not gonna hit each other in the face, right? You know that, so that you feel comfortable in that scenario. And the hidden curriculum is kind of that unspoken expectation that we're gonna talk about. But before we deep dive into the hidden curriculum, I want to talk about what wasn't everybody's camp favorite food. I want to talk about pizza. And it definitely it's not first in our hearts. So we still pizza for many camps that I've been to have been like a huge part of the mealtime. But that's not what we're going to talk about. I want to talk about has anyone ever worked at a pizza place before? Just like quick show of hands, have you ever worked at a pizza place? I say Amelia has, Jack has. I've worked at a pizza place before too. And this is for everyone, right? But maybe even you, so more so Amelia, right? If I were to come to your place of work when you were working at this pizza shop, and I'm gonna put on I guess my best Philly accent here, and I was to come in and I was like, let me get one of them Jones, the pizza John, and let me get 4 toppings on it. But then I also want like another pizza John with and I just want 6 toppings on it. But then give me a third one, and maybe just give me 1 topping, just 1 topping, right? And what I want you guys to do is just make a face as to how you would make a face of somebody that made this order. Like, what face are you making? Let me get one of them Jones with 6 toppings on. Right? It's like, all right, right? And I'm gonna go on a limb and take a guess and say that I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the question in the back of her head right now, as we're like thinking like, all right, cool, we can definitely get you 3 pizzas. But I'm gonna need to know what kind of toppings you want on those pizzas. Like, you can't just come in here and say I want 18 toppings and not tell me which ones. Do you want anchovies? Do you want pepperoni? Do you want Do you want Hawaiian? Do you want pineapple and ham, right? Who's a Hawaiian? Anybody Hawaiian? Any Hawaiian pineapple pizzas? Pineapple pizzas? Yeah, okay. All right, we're out here. All right. I don't always get such a good reaction on it. Sometimes I'm alone in that. So I appreciate you guys for being on my team with that one. Right, but we want to know what kind of toppings are going to be on the pizza. We can't just say that we want toppings on our pizza and expect everything to be okay. And that's what we want to think about when we think about talking about the hidden curriculum, and even and the goal of the hidden curriculum is to illuminate things to make changes for specific populations at our camp. That's the goal. And in order to make efficient change, you need to be as specific as you possibly can. And that's what I mean. And so oftentimes you'll hear people talk about diversity in general, right? And this is what I think about when I hear people say diversity. It sounds to me like they're saying, let me get a pizza with 8 toppings on it. I want my camp to be more diverse. I want more toppings on my camp. I want my community to have more diversity. That's what it sounds like when I hear people say that, and I like shiver a little bit, and I always want just more specificity. Specificity. I am struggling with that word right there. Right, but that's what we're thinking. That's what the mindset that I want us to be in as we continue talking about the hidden curriculum. Right, we want to say, I want my Black campers to feel more comfortable at the Gaga pit. I want my non-binary BIPOC campers to feel more comfortable checking in and getting situated in their bunks. I want my veteran staff members to feel more involved, to come up and give great leadership training or great leadership skills and great leadership advice during staff training, right? That specificity is what we're really trying to hone in on here as we keep in mind the idea of the hidden curriculum, right? And to continue on that, for today, what the specifics of what we're going to talk about today is a lot of what we're going to talk about is going to be wrapped around the idea of JEDI, and JEDI is justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And even more specifically, we're going to focus more so on the inclusion and equity aspect of it. These are definitions taken directly from the DEI.extension.org. It's in the very bottom right of this PowerPoint. You can see it. These are taken from there. And then the last sentence is kind of a paraphrasing or a shorthand of the definition by Simone Gamble, who is an incredible thought leader from orgs.org. But essentially, we're going to focus on inclusion and equity today. Inclusion essentially is making outsiders feel like insiders. And that's kind of like a brief synopsis of inclusion. And then once we have our outsiders and we have them feeling like insiders, we're going to want to create that level playing field, which is equity. And equity is pretty much just creating a level playing field for everyone involved to kind of partake in the decision-making process and have impact on what they're involving themselves in. Cool. Thumbs if you're still with me.
Let's go. Nelson,
Easy.
You didn't let anybody know that doesn't what a John is. You didn't illuminate that piece of the hidden curriculum for all of us, maybe non-Philly folks.
Bad. So a John is a noun. And like, that's the definition. It's like not like a John is a noun, but a John, the definition of a John is a noun, a person, place, or a thing, essentially. A John is like a replacement word for anything that you just don't immediately have the word for. So another kind of word that's like John is if someone says like a whatchamacallit, a thingamajig, a who's a what's it. I'm at my grandparents' house right now, so like I was talking with them earlier, and then my grandpa was coming at me with some of these terms, which is why they're so fresh in my mind. Right. So a John is just kind of a replacement word for literally, and when I say anything, I do quite literally mean just about anything, right?
Okay, wait, but Nelson, I got to ask a couple more questions about illuminating the hidden curriculum around the word John.
Gotcha.
First of all, do your grandparents, who are also from around Philly, use that term?
They do not. They do not use John.
And is that because it tends to be that older people don't use it?
I think it tends to be, I would say John is, I think my grandparents are just slightly before the time of the word John. And I think that's why.
Second question.
Yep.
You know how white I am?
I do.
Can I also use the word John, or is that not really fit for folks who look like me?
John is a safe word for anybody to use anywhere. You may get strange looks if you go into Philly and you say it the first few times, just because it might not sound like how they say it, but no one will give you any kind of intense slack for saying John. And in fact, they may even just consider you to be from that area if you use the word John.
Okay, thank you. And right there, everybody, that's what Illuminating the Hidden Curriculum is all about. Making it easy to have that kind of conversation.
Absolutely. But what's the next one? All right, so that's one of the lenses that we're gonna look at it from today. And the next one is gonna be from a neurodiversity standpoint. Neurodiversity, there's a really definition that we pull from Wikipedia right there. You're more than welcome to read that. I'm not gonna read that out loud. However, I'm gonna read our definition of neurodiversity, or like the shorthand paraphrases, is pretty much essentially people think differently. Cool. Everyone got that one? Awesome. Right. All right. So I believe we had an actual breakout room that I think I might have just skipped over. But we're good. We're good. All right. So here's my question to you. How do people know what to do? How did you know that when you came into this room that you should probably have your microphone muted? How did you know that how did you know that you should be listening and that Jack and I were going to be the ones talking? How do you know that when you go to the grocery store, that when you buy your groceries and you're ready to check out, you have to wait in line and it's not okay to cut in line? How do you know that when you buy a ticket to the movie theaters, that you should be sitting, if they have assigned seats, right? You should be sitting in your assigned seat. And that it's probably not okay to just kind of jump into a different seat, even if it's open at the time, right? How do people know how to do that? And I think I want to use the chat feature here, right? Just type in the chat. How did you know what to do today? How did you know what to do when you came into the Zoom meeting? How do you know what you're doing right now by listening to me? Like how did you make these decisions? Boom. You got Amelia said, exposure, experience, sometimes implicit instruction long ago. Past experiences, getting taught by friends, peers, and adults. Oh, explicit, I'm sorry, explicit. Acculturation, social convention, trial and error, watching other people, what you've seen done by others before, asking people. For sure. Absolutely. 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 All of those things are 100% how we kind of figured out, right? We look at other people, we look at other people, we watch for what's called social cues, right? I may have seen Sandy or Olivia had their microphone muted, so I kind of implied that I should have my microphone muted. I saw maybe that social, like the juxtaposition between myself and you, right? I know that Nelson and Jack are the presenters, and I've seen presentations before, and I know that when I'm in that environment, I'm going to listen to the presenter, right? We kind of know that from that social information, either authority position or kind of that relationship between you and I. And again, like a lot of people I think saw, I saw a big one, which was just trial and error, as well as kind of like background information, right? Maybe you've been in this situation before, right? We've probably, right, by this time in 2022, we've probably been on so many Zoom calls. Like, how many times have you heard somebody say like, can you hear me? Is my mic muted? Or like you've heard someone say your mic muted? Or how many times have you heard someone say, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Is my screen showing? Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, we can go now, right? Like we've been in Zoom calls for so long that maybe we just kind of know from that background knowledge, what is the expectation to do in a Zoom call? Now, the caveat about this, and maybe not in the caveat, like the kind of messed up part for real about all of this is in environments like on a Zoom call, or in environments like at camp, or in environments like at a Renaissance fair, or environments like if I might not be used to a Renaissance fair, and I might not be used to what I should be doing in the dining hall because I've never been to a camp dining hall before, right? we expect people to kind of know how to do all of these things well, and we teach almost none of it. A lot of this that we're talking about, we kind of relied on the fact that we can have these social cues, or we have the social information and the awareness, as well as the background knowledge to kind of make these decisions to be successful in the environment. We were able to use all of these to be successful in the Zoom call, right? And you guys, you can give yourself a pat on the back. You guys are being successful so far. Right? You were able to use all of this to kind of put it all together. Boom. Jack, do you have anything that you want to add on kind of like the social cues and the background, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think like when I think about this, like raise your hand if you like sometimes are unsure or feel like a little bit uncomfortable about like all the mask wearing stuff that is happening. I feel like I'm always confused. Should I be wearing a mask? Should I wear a mask inside? Should I wear a mask outside? Am I supposed to be wearing a mask because the CDC said we didn't have to wear masks anymore? Like now I'm like, but then some people are still wearing masks. And I feel like that is going to change again. And it's just like confusing because there's not like a clear rule most of the time. And I'm not coming down on what everyone should be doing right now with masks because I'm confused still. But like it's confusing, right? And like you remember the beginning of the pandemic where like you would like wear a mask outside and then some people would like lower their mask when they weren't near people and then raise it back up when they got near people. Some people would like cross the street and it's like confusing and some people are like yelling at each other. That's like the hidden curriculum, right? Like there isn't exactly agreement around what the quote unquote rules are for that all the time. And now it's like, how many people are wearing like the N95 mask all the time if you got to wear a mask, right? Some people are like, no, I'm still wearing the one that my grandma made me or whatever, right? Like it's not clear what we're trying to do. And there's like a lot of judgment, I feel like, when people are like wearing different masks or not wearing masks. There's a lot of judgment being placed on people. And when our kids are going to come into our camp, a lot of times I feel like they're coming in and they're wearing the mask, the metaphorical mask, but also think about the physical mask of like what they think is the right thing to do, right? So like maybe their family has been like really pushing the N95 mask, or maybe their family's like, no, we wear the cloth mask. And then they get to camp and everybody's doing something different, or there's a couple of different masks going on at camp. And they're like using all of their skill set to try and figure out what masks could I maybe be wearing in so many different situations, right? And that's what's happening for the kids who are not used to being in our spaces. Now, if Nelson's like been to our camp like a million times, he knows he crushes, he shows up, he knows what to do. So he crushes, he doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have to use up any of those anxiety points thinking about what mask to wear, right? And so if you think about those anxiety points, what we end up doing a lot of times at camp is sending kids home who don't know which mask to wear. And they're spending a bunch of their anxiety points trying to figure out what to do. And if you're like me and you've got like big anxiety coming into a new space, you might just while it out a little extra. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna go a little bit extra and find where the edges are. I'm throwing my mask on the ground and kicking it, and then I'm gonna run around because I don't know what to do, right? And what I'm trying to do is find that spot where my anxiety levels can go down because I understand what's happening, right? And I think that that's what's happening most of the time when we think about kids coming to camp trying to figure out like what is the hidden curriculum. And so what we're going to do for the next half hour or so is talk about how can we help kids lower their anxiety by kids and staff, by understanding what is going on around them. What masks do they need to wear? What masks are optional? Where do we need to do those kind of things? And one of the really cool parts about when we start talking about illuminating the hidden curriculum is it's a two-way street. One, we can help more outsiders become insiders by giving them the on-ramp, by making it clear what they need to do to become insiders. And then at the same time, as we're doing that, we can look at it and say, Nelson, I'm going to curse, I apologize. What the fuck have we been doing? Like, this is the insiders that we've been trying to make people? Whoa. Let's change what is true to make it better, to make it more inclusive. Because what we're going to see as we start to illuminate some of this stuff and we have to actually say it out loud, we're going to be like, oh no, that was messed up. Yo, we should be that. We don't know. No, we don't want to be doing that. And so it's both helping folks become insiders in the space that we already had and looking at the space that we already had to start to make it easier for folks to be insiders and less oppressive, less kind of all the other negative things that come from like the systemic society that we have that we got going on. Now, Tone.
But absolutely, and I think Jack really touched on it like perfectly. And to sum it all up is, right, if you don't know what mask you should be wearing, if you don't know how you should be behaving, right, life becomes stressful. Life is stressful when you are not sure how to behave. And that's what occurs at camps. There's so many people that come in, not just campers, not just staff, but anyone that comes to a community that is unaware of the hidden curriculum, unaware of those unwritten rules that are expectations that we kind of have at our camps that we just haven't identified or haven't like kind of put a name to and illuminated for people. It becomes stressful. And I don't know about you guys, but I know for a fact that I'm not 110% Nelson when I'm under some sort of stress. I know that I am not my best camp self. I might not even be my above average camp self, right? I might not be on my best behavior. And that's going to be because of that or that kind of stress, that anxiety that builds up. I'm using all my anxiety points and I don't have I don't have enough spare room to use my goofy points or my facilitation points or my social points, things like that. But all right, so I wanna give us some time to kind of really just kind of and Jack, I think we're gonna go into breakout rooms. It's gonna be a quick one. It's gonna be like a 7-minute breakout room, maybe like 2 groups, something like that. But I want to kind of begin to have us identify some of those spaces on camp where a hidden curriculum might exist. That's going to be the question that we're going to talk about is what spaces at your camps does a hidden curriculum exist? And then it's going to be bonus points if you start to identify specifically what of the hidden curriculum is in those spaces, like, right? What specific things about those spaces are the hidden curriculum. Cool. All right, boom. The breakout rooms.
Okay, tell Bernard I said hi.
I will.
Got an office shirt? Let's go. I've actually never stayed in New York, so I don't actually know how exciting that is, to be honest. But they sound incredible. But all right, we're gonna do a quick share out. And how I like to do share outs is completely I don't have any kind of organized system for it. I think if you want to share in the chat, definitely do that. Otherwise, just kind of unmute yourself. And there's going to be like that awkward moment where we're like, do I go first? Do I go first? And here's the thing, you just go first. As soon as you think you have something, you just go, and I guarantee no one else will be at the time.
All right, I'm ready. I'm going to go. So we locked in pretty hard on dining halls.
Yeah.
Because we talked about how, dining halls, everybody has different meal traditions. And so some of the other camps share their meal traditions that they have in there. We talked about how some things even the food that we serve, thinking about kind of what Jack was saying about wow, we had to say this out loud, but most of it's Western dietary foods. Even the list that Nelson you showed at the beginning was all very Western foods that we're used to having here in America, but that might not be as inclusive as we want it to be. And then we talked about how mealtime, you would think oh, this is what we do at mealtime, but mealtime at home for people looks different. So kids are already coming from a different set of norms from how they eat meals at home, how they eat meals at school, and now how they eat meals at. So even preconceived norms that they've set up and established are now completely thrown out the window. And then we touched on cohorting too, even with COVID. It's normally camps about, go talk to whoever. And now it's nope, only talk to these people, but talk to them a lot, but don't talk to anybody else. And so, that's a whole new norms for everybody at camp. So think about somebody coming in facing the regular changes of camp and then COVID on top of that. I was just then we went down a pretty big spiral on dining halls. Is pretty much how it went.
Absolutely, kind of just how food works at camp, right? Just food in general. Like if you would have put food into a bubble and like we only focus on that, right? We could go on and on and on about like just the differences from cultures and things like that. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's do one more, and also like feel free to type in the chat if you also have something that you definitely want to get off. But again, like one more, and if you want to go first, if you want to go, just go.
I'll do it. So one of the things was last summer with like COVID, I found myself explaining both how we used to do it, like so like the norms of like eating in what we call the Thunderdome is our dining hall versus like now we're eating in a field under a tent. Like, well, then you could do this and now you can do this. So go ham. And then outside of that, like norms inside of our cabins are quite frankly different every session. And like we try to talk about it in first night talks with whatever like cabin unit it is. And like there's the general ones of like don't touch other people's stuff. Like, you know, if you're gonna doodle on anything that's camps, do it on the bunks, not the cabin. Like things along those lines. But then every session it changes based on like the kids' preferences and like, oh, it's fine if you use my embroidery floss without asking versus like someone being like, don't fucking touch my colored pencils. And so it's just not only are most of them unspoken, it's also that they change depending on who's there. And so it's just like a glorious puzzle to solve every day, everywhere.
Absolutely, right? Like and something as both as small or as massive, right? It had to whoever it is, right? As my colored pencils, right? You better not dare touch my colored pencils, right? Except for maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you can touch my colored pencils, right? Because it changes, right? So like being able to identify, right? It's I don't want to say that it's easy, right? It's not always easy to identify all of these unspoken things because, right? Because we're blind to some things that we can see, and we're also blind to the things that we can't see. So really being able to think intentionally about kind of the hidden curriculum. I want to kind of so that's kind of identifying the hidden curriculum, and the hidden curriculum kind of comes in three parts, right? Identifying, illumination, and then that last part is kind of altering. I want to go into like illumination here, but before I want to ask you guys a question. Let's say that your camper or your specific organization has decided to give you an all expense weekend paid getaway vacation, right? Everything the works to Jack's grandma's house. That's where we're going. That's where we're going. We're going to Jack's grandma's house. It's all inclusive, all paid. You don't have to worry about nothing, right? Just real quick, I found out that it's called a thumb thermometer is the term that I heard. I'm iffy on that one yet. But right, thumbs up if you're like super comfortable. Let's go. Jack's grandma's house is gonna rock. Middle if you're like, all right. And thumbs down if like you're like, well, Jack, I kind of just met you like 30 minutes ago. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna feel too comfortable at your grandma's house right now. Okay, we got some like thumbs up, some thumbs, some iffy, some all right, all right. We got some love for Jack's grandma's house right now. But all right, what if before you came to Jack's grandma's house, Jack gave you this rundown that he's about to give you?
Yo, so here's the thing about going to Frances's house. She's a really nice lady, but just take your shoes off when you go in the door, right? So she's gonna open the door and she's gonna want to give you a big hug. If you're not okay with hugs, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but listen, she's going to go hugs, then take your shoes off and smile. Just always smile. Sometimes she mumbles, just keep smiling. You're not going to get asked too many questions. It's going to be fine, right? Like she's going to mumble through some stuff. You just smile. The food is going to be bomb. The green beans usually are not that good, but you got to eat the green beans. Just eat them. Just eat the green beans. I know it's going to kind of suck. And don't ask for dessert. The dessert will come, but she's going to clear the plates. We're going to wait a minute. We're going to hang for a second. Then she's going to surprise you as if the dessert was like not going to come, right? It's going to be like a surprise dessert, right? Like, so don't ask about it. She's going to surprise you about it. The dinner's going to seem a little bit long, but then we cool, right? Then she goes to bed at like 7:30 and we can hang out and do whatever we got to do. We can leave, we can do whatever. So just be polite. We're going to get there at like 5. Remember, smile, shoes off, hugs, ask questions about dessert, eat the green beans. It's going to be over at 7:30. Then we can literally do whatever after that, after the dessert. So that's how it's going to go. If you don't like hugs, though, that's a non-negotiable. And if you don't like green beans, also probably not going to be the best place. I just choked down the green beans to get to the dessert.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. All right, Jack. Eat the green beans. Right. Dessert is coming on the way. We're gonna get there at 5. Shoes off though. Hopefully you got some socks on, or maybe you definitely did your feet up that day. I don't know. Right. All right. Just again, while we're gonna ask that same question after hearing that kind of rundown, that breakdown, that illumination, if you will. Who feels slightly more comfortable? Right. The question is not if you feel comfortable. Who feels slightly more comfortable or more comfortable in that scenario than they were 10 minutes ago? Sunshine's over there like, yo, we're in there.
Dude, Francie's house sounds awesome. Like surprise dessert. Like I am in to just be like dessert. Yeah, no, I'm there.
Let's go.
So a couple of things that I really like about kind of things like illuminating the hidden curriculum for folks is one is like you're letting people in on like that, not everything's perfect too. You know what I'm saying? Like camp isn't perfect. When the kids get to camp, like you can be real. Listen, Nelson's gonna get up there. He's gonna introduce how the dining hall is gonna work. I know you're not gonna totally understand what's happening. You can just always ask me. I got you. Like, you know what I mean? Like to acknowledge some of that stuff, and then kind of giving folks like that like secret hint on what to do so they can be in on the joke, right? Like grandma's dessert, right? Like, yeah, like it's not like a real, like who cares if you're like actually excited? The same thing is true in the dining hall at camp, right? Like a bunch of people are going to pound on tables at the end to bring the dessert out or whatever everybody does for their thing, whatever they do for dessert at camp. Like it lets you just be like, oh yeah, I can do that, right? And then the last thing, and this one I think I sometimes forget, is like, yo, when is the break coming? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like at camp, when you've been to camp, you know how to turn your energy up for the things where the energy's got to go up. And then you're like, cool. Now I can just coast for an hour and then I'm back in it. I got to turn my energy back up. And like, so how can we help kids know that and other staff know that? Like you've probably seen like the new staff who just go like 150% for the whole first day. And you're like, yo, bro, just like shut up for a second. It's fine. We did the name games. Now it's time for the kids to throw the Frisbee. We're going to be out there. We're going to have small side conversations, like throwing the Frisbee back and forth. You can chill. You don't got to be at 110% for this part, right? And so like setting people up to know when to turn their energy levels up, I think is a huge part of illuminating the hidden curriculum and letting them opt into some stuff, right? Like they're opting into what's happening. They're giving consent as opposed to kind of it just being forced down their throat.
Absolutely. I was definitely that counselor that went 150% for the first 2 days and then just crashed on that third day. And everyone was like, what happened? And I was like, I didn't tell me when the breaks were. I didn't know I could turn it off every now and again. But all right. But just to illuminate a bit of the hidden curriculum of like what we're gonna do next. I'm gonna give you just a few examples on both illumination, and then we're gonna talk about ways that we can alter the hidden curriculum as well. We're gonna dive into some breakout rooms and kind of talk about how we might alter or illuminate the hidden curriculum at our camps here. But three specific examples of both illumination or identifying and altering the hidden curriculum from camps that I've seen. The first one I'm going to talk about my friend Jack here. Me and Jack had the pleasure of working together last year at Camp Stomping Ground. And one day he was doing the introduction for the waterfront and explaining all the rules. Where we're going to go down, we're going to get buddies, we're going to have our buddy board tags. We're going to, and he was going over the supplies that you should have. He was like, oh, make sure you bring your towel, make sure you're with a counselor, make sure you have your bathing suit ready, you're gonna get wet. And then he goes, and then make sure you put sunscreen on before you go down there. And and kind of synonymously, quite a few black counselors just kind of gave me a look like, And that look was like that's just a generic look that is not the first time I've seen that, but it happens a lot. And it was in regards to the sunscreen, which is like I don't want to say that all Black people do not wear sunscreen, because that's not true. A lot of people do. However, it is very culturally it's not uncommon for Black people to just not put on sunscreen because of our melanin already that we have in there. That's just kind of something that's in the Black culture. So, and then we got to talking about that and whether or not like it made sense for us to keep saying put on sunscreen, right? Because at Camp Stomping Ground, it's a pretty diverse. There's a lot of Black campers there. There's a lot of Black staff there. And I was like, I've never thought about that, but like honestly, not really. Like I would be like, if I was gonna give that presentation and it was all Black on all Black staff, I'd probably say like, make sure you bring some lotion for afterwards so that we can clean up all that ashiness. That's the words I would say. And that's kind of so then what we did from identifying that was part of the hidden curriculum, right? That the instructions were kind of targeted at folks that use sunscreen. And Black people, many Black people that I know do not use sunscreen. So we made that change later on as we were given direction throughout the summer. We both said sunscreen, but we also brought in that. And also, if you need it, make sure you have some lotion readily available for after you get out the water, so that you're nice and moisturized, right? That's a quick way to like that. We just quickly altered our hidden curriculum. Another one, number 2, is I had the privilege of working with another incredible camp director at a 4-H camp in North Jersey. His name is Ben Clausen. What they do at this 4-H camp on the very first day of camp is something called New Games. New Games is pretty much they go into a giant field to play a bunch of giant tag games. It's like the very first activity that you do. And a part of that hidden curriculum is that like the excitement, the screaming, the loud songs, the singing, right? That's kind of the expectation that you kind of have to get involved in that. And that's kind of your only option. And for that hour, that's the majority of your options. That's 90% of the options. Of course, you have the option of like watching and sitting off to the side, maybe playing a card game, but like that's an expectation, right? That first day. And we've had a big discussion over like who we were excluding, who might feel uncomfortable in that scenario, and identifying why they might feel uncomfortable. And it's again like that loudness, that energy that I think someone mentioned it earlier, that archetype of the energetic camp counselor is kind of really being exemplified in that moment. But so then we talked and some changes were made, and New Games firstly devolved from everyone coming to this tag game all together at the same time to maybe we're starting out in small groups with just our cabin mates to get comfortable with our cabin mates to then work into a larger game. And then I think New Games eventually worked its way to either later in the day or to the next game to get people more time to kind of get situated with their surroundings and kind of even identify and illuminate the hidden curriculum for themselves and kind of how to engage in those large scenario games. Because if we have campers coming from places, if this campers are the first time or they're coming from camps that might not be doing these large games, right? It's kind of intimidating. It's kind of scary to kind of just be thrust into this environment where everyone just kind of knows what they're doing. Everybody knows how Octopus Tag is played, even if I'm giving the rules, right? That one time. And then this last one here. Oh God, did I just draw a blank?
Tall tree.
Okay, all right. This last one here is Camp Tall Tree, and this is something that we do to illuminate the hidden curriculum. And we're gonna send out an example of what this looks like, as well as a bunch of other resources after this. But what we do is we create social stories for campers before they come. And Camp Tall Tree is a camp in Michigan for kids on the autism spectrum. So what we do is we create social stories, and all that does is highlight exactly what they can expect on that first day, and not just like at camp. It also highlights what happens before camp. So it talks about the drive to camp. It talks about packing for camp. It talks about the feelings that people typically feel before they get to camp, right? It talks about like, it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to feel excited. It's okay to feel anxious. It talks about once you get to camp, this is what you can expect. You're going to meet your counselor. You're going to go to your cabin. It pretty much lays out an entire 24-hour period of the time right before camp, to the time that you get to camp, until the time that you wake up that following morning, right? And that's just we do it in the form of like an infographic or and we call it a social story. But it's also it can be done in a letter. It can be done in a variety of forms. You can make a short video. I know I've seen some camps make videos about how to kind of operate. And again, all of this is explaining how to behave or how to be successful in an environment, right? How to thrive in that environment, right? So it's a little less stressful. So life is a little less stressful when you get there. So those are just 3 clear examples. We're not gonna, again, because of our time, we're not gonna be able to really dive into that. But what I want to do is I want to go into breakout rooms one more time. But before we do, just quick thumbs up, thumbs down if you felt like you had a good amount of time. Thumbs up if you wish you had more time in the last breakout room, and then thumbs if it was like the right amount, or thumbs if like it was a little bit too long. Cool. So maybe a little bit more. All right. So we're gonna go back into breakout rooms. Jack's gonna set us up with that, and we're gonna answer this question: what are some elements of our hidden curriculum that we would feel comfortable with, that we would be willing to consider removing or changing? I'm just gonna leave it at that, actually. What elements of the hidden curriculum at our camps would we consider removing or altering? And then again, that bonus question at the end is gonna be, in what way would you change that hidden curriculum? And I think we're gonna, what did we do last time? Like 7 minutes? Let's do, let's go big. Let's go 15. Right, and you can always come back early, but we're gonna do 15. Cool.
Dude, there it is.
Boom. I think my headset said it's back. Somebody just take it off.
Yo, charge those babies up. You got 15 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. I'm kind of hungry. All right, cool. We killing it. This is all on the recording, so I think I'm going to leave this in. It's just going to be me.
Oh, and we're back, baby. Let's go. I've always wanted to be a radio announcer because I knew I never had a face for TV, but maybe the radio will welcome in. Sunshine, gotcha. Got him. Count him. Got him. I think I got Pam too. Nelson, count him.
I don't know what you're
Andrew.
talking about. I can totally keep a straight face.
Andrew and Olivia, I'm just getting them all right now. Let's go, Nelson. Nelson, what do you think they talked? This is interesting. Nelson, what do you think the Sunshine was talking about in their room before they came back?
I would have to guess that Sunshine definitely mentioned that they would have more colored pencils at camp in general. So like you don't have to worry about sharing colored pencils, right? We're just gonna have everyone, you get a colored pencil and you get a colored pencil and you get a colored pencil. Everybody
Oh,
right,
okay.
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone in the dining hall, look under your bench. There's a colored pencil.
Wait,
I
actually do love that. I actually do love that. Sometimes we do have false scarcity. Like sometimes, like I'm not saying that we need to just have like everybody gets like a bike or a car at camp, although that would be cool. But we could just buy a few more colored pencils and then stop being so upset when kids lose the colored pencils. Like this is like a $15 problem. Like come on. All right, but for real, what was going on in some of your groups? What'd you talk about that were pieces of hidden curriculum that you thought, yo, if we illuminate this, it's still messed up. How can we change it?
I brought up dining halls because dining halls can be kind of a stressful place. And we discussed how kind of if you want to leave, you should be given that option because they're loud, and just kind of being comfortable with navigating a dining hall in a camp setting.
Hell yeah, I love that. I've always dreamed at Stomping Ground of having an outdoor like a wedding tent that you can just go, like that's like the quieter zone. You can just leave the dining hall, go there. It's like still supervised, like everybody's still like in the same space-ish. I love that.
The other piece that we tied into that was having nonverbal signs for your neurodiverse kids. Like even just like in sitting there being like, I need to go to the bathroom and everybody's raging and it's super loud. It's like I try to avoid as many bathroom changes as I can at camp. But it's like for some of those kids, like saying like, whatever it is, anytime at camp, you can say like, if you shoot me a peace sign, I know you need to take a break. And it's like something that like you and that person know, but nobody else knows. Or you tell everybody in your camp and it just works that way too.
Yeah. Another thing that I've dreamed about but haven't been able to figure out is like, what if there was like a color in every space-ish at camp? Like, let's just have like a space that's like painted light blue. And if in that space, it's like within the dining hall, there's just a light blue space. You can just go to the light blue space when you're overwhelmed. You're out at archery, there's a light blue bench. You can always go to the light blue bench when you're overwhelmed. It's just like a little bit like a little bit further away. It gives you a little bit of space, but it's like very clear. You're not like running away. I wish that was true at Stomping Ground. It's not. Instead, a lot of times, I think that what we do is like when you get to a space and you're illuminating the hidden curriculum of that space, being like, all right, yo, so here we are at the dining hall. If you need a break, you can go over here. Here we are at arts and crafts. If you need a break, shoot me a peace sign because we're going to be in this building. There's like not really like an easy way. You know what I'm saying? But like, so part of the explanation when you get somewhere always being when you need space, this is how you get it. Because if not, you've had kids that find if I'm one of those kids, when I need space, you can bet your ass I'm getting space. And it may or may not be in an appropriate way, but I am going to find my way to some space. And, you know, if we can just set ourselves up to not do that, that's so much better. Yeah, the calm corner. I love that. Yeah. All right, one more.
We talked a lot about waterfront and some really interesting stories, guys, good job. But of those situations of like their swim test, of saying like, for the first kid that knows they can't swim, give them the option of getting a life jacket right off the bat so they don't have to go through the trauma of trying to swim. And so trying to anticipate those outs for kids kind of before it becomes an issue, before their safety is in line, before they're there. Just like starting with the, like, if you're at level 1, just make it level 1. I like to call it mild, medium, and spicy. I do that with a lot of different games and like giving them different size tools to play with or work with, or changing the speed or the location or like the terrain that they're playing with. Because then the idea being it's challenge by choice. What you know your body, you can start with where you're at and then move up kind of and advance based on what's comfortable for you and feel successful to do so.
I love that, giving them choice before they start. Like, for example, like this is Megan. Might sound like sacrilege to some folks, but like, does everybody need to take the swim test? In New York, they don't. In New York, if you only are going to stay in the shallow end, you don't need to take the swim test legally. Now, you might choose that at your camp, you got to take the swim test because you value forcing kids to try something that they've never tried before, like whatever. Like you can make your mission-driven choices. But like, if they don't got to, could they not? Whether it's the swim test or a million other things, right? So, you know, sometimes I'm going to hate on challenge by choice for a second. Sometimes I think we say challenge by choice, and then we're like, yo, but you can put the harness on, right? Like you can put the harness on. Like, come on, it's challenge by choice, but you can get the harness on. And it's like, yo, but like, now you're just like, pushing me to put the harness on. And I don't, like, for me, maybe I'm cool putting the harness on. I'm like, yeah, bet, like I'll put the harness on, now I'm done. But maybe for Nelson's like, you don't know what happened in my past about whatever, or I got whatever feelings about putting the harness on. I'm not putting the harness on. And again, if it's going to be like a big thing for Nelson, he might be the kind of person like me who's going to like lose his mind if you're trying to force him to put the harness on. Or he might just internalize all that shame or whatever's going on, right? So I just think when we talk about challenge by choice, let's like think about what we mean and how much we're then pushing when we're challenging by choice. You know what I'm saying? So just illuminating that for folks, because I think a lot of kind of like really good natured young counselors might push folks harder than they realize they are. And for some people, maybe they're asking to get pushed, but maybe we can ask, something that I know Nelson does a lot is he asks if he can like push a little bit. So he's like working with kids. He's like, yo, I know you've been talking about getting on the horse. When we get up to the horses, you want me to push you a little bit? See if you like, I know you're going to be a little scared. You want me to give you a little push, try and get you to do it? And they might be like, yeah. Or they might be like, hell no, Nelson, I'm not getting on any horses. All right, but Nelson, horses, y'all are a little bit like butterflies around here.
Absolutely. And I've gotten so many, hell no, I'm not getting on no horse, Nelson. I've gotten so many of those at tall tree. But yeah, all right. So all right, just end this off, right? I wanna also just get really real for a second. Is the hidden curriculum is very, very impactful, can be very impactful and very important, but it can also be very overwhelming when you think about all the aspects of the hidden curriculum that we might want to change, and all the aspects that we might be like, oh, that might be harmful and that might be there. And it's like, that's okay. That's okay. It's gonna be stressful, and I want to say that the expectation is not for you to like go back to your camp and like, we got to rewrite all the rules. We got to rewrite all the things. We got to start from scratch and wipe the cleaning board. That's not what I'm saying. I think when I think about the kind of work that this is, I think about, so background, I was a math major. And there's a higher level kind of math theory that's called chaos theory. and again, Sunshine's out here. We're out here. We got Sunshine locked down. There's a higher level math theory about chaos theory, and it's pretty much that all the things are kind of interacted. And an example of chaos theory is that a butterfly can flap its wings in New York and then create a hurricane somewhere on the other side of the world. And that's how I kind of think about this work, is that a lot of this work that we're doing, a lot of these small changes, and a lot of this intentionality that we're putting into our camps and into these spaces to make sure that we're making as many outsiders feel like insiders, and as many insiders feeling even more like an insider and even more comfortable in our spaces, is like a butterfly kind of flapping its wings. And you don't really see the effects right in front of you. You won't see the effects. You won't see the hurricane that you're creating in their lives, either at camp later that week or when they get home later in the year, or even you might be inspiring the next person to be in a call like this. You might be inspiring the next camp director because of how inclusive you made them feel at your camp, right? So that's what I think about when this work is that we're just a bunch of little butterflies kind of flapping our wings but the thing is that we're also creating these incredible hurricanes in the lives of the campers and then the lives of the people that come into our spaces. So yeah, that's what I think about. I think we're all butterflies. So I want you guys to spread your wings this summer and in future summers to continue doing this kind of work. And I know that the hurricanes and the people that have hurricanes created by you are definitely appreciative for you. And if you don't hear them say it, I'm going to say it for them, that they appreciate it. But other than that, I think that's a wrap for us on Hidden Curriculum.
Thank you all so much. And Nelson's ballot will be going out. You'll be able to vote for him for president in 2032. And I will certainly be giving him my vote. You don't have to tell me what your platform is. Just do something about butterflies and sign me up, baby. Let's go.